I mean, okay, yeah, no worries. Look, this matchup is fascinating to me, right? The San Francisco Shock versus the Atlanta Reign, because we saw a pretty different San Francisco Shock in Texas, right? You know, the word onliner gets thrown around a fair bit. The fact of the matter is that these guys are incredible online, and at LAN, they looked nervous. They looked like they were unable to really adjust to the atmosphere. To be fair, a hostile crowd for them a fair bit of the time, so not an easy road for them here, but I mean, so far in regular season play, the San Francisco Shock have been pretty darn good.
Yeah, they're 8-0 in regular season. Then they go to LAN, they lose. It's like, what? We didn't expect this at all. Especially from people like Proper, Finn, Sam as well. I'm glad they've actually added Mikey into the team too. Wrecking Ball's been played here and there, and him being on the team to facilitate that need for San Francisco Shock has been great. But are we just going to see the same kind of thing? We're just going to see Shock do really well in the qualifiers and then kind of flounder a little bit when tournament time comes? I'm not sure. The Atlanta Reign, on the other hand, like, Venom has been unbelievably clutch. Mitch, we cast the game yesterday where Venom was just multiple pulse bomb after like a multi-kills on pulse bomb time and time again to stop them or stop the enemy team from getting the final checkpoints or just coming out with big clutch teamfight wins. And then Kai is just very consistent on the Sojourn. It's a true test for the San Francisco Shock now. Are they just going to continue their dominant spree, or is this where they're finally stopped by the Atlanta Reign?
The Reign, yesterday, were able to dodge, you know, a matchup that many expected them to win, and it was a little bit closer, of course, as that Vancouver team is starting to work on some interesting stuff in, you know, into the background. But let's have a look at their roster today, and let's talk about what we should expect for them. Look, I think the crew in the truck put it very clearly. If we get the Reign at their best, this is going to be an incredible game. But that's the asterisk, right? Kai, like you mentioned, had really consistent output. He got our player of the match yesterday in a tough series. But he and Venom were definitely very pivotal for this team. And you kind of said this, that Ultrafighter and OG, after such a strong start in the league, have started to look much more fallible over the last few weeks.
Yeah, and that's what's crazy. They come in so, like, bursting onto the scene. You're like, whoa, okay. Shouldn't mess with them. This is why Atlanta Reign picked them up. They're an incredible duo. But last couple of weeks, they've not looked so great. And maybe that's a meta shift in the way these compositions are starting to play in a more team-based, like Rush-style composition where it's a lot more team-orientated. They did extremely well. But now we're in a meta where the DPS are just kind of let loose. And we saw it in the match before, where Decay is just on a flank somewhere, on Tracer, doing his thing. And then you have someone else on Sojourn just up on the high ground, also doing their thing. There's a lot less like team-orientated. Maybe that's where their kind of weakness is. Yet to be seen, though, of course. But Hawk has been a very good Doomfist player, I will say. The Atlanta Reign overall looking very strong. This is their week to prove they are one of the best teams in North America. As Shock is their opponent, they're undefeated.
That's right, it's time for the Atlanta Reign to prove that they're fit to rule the roost. Let's have a look at their opponents today. The San Francisco Shock. It's going to be Sam and Proper starting with Mikey in at tank. I mean, this team obviously are undefeated in regular season play, but I've got to say that extra element we've now seen added to their tank line, it's way more flexibility. This is a pretty big roster, but you can see now they've been able to make use of many of those new additions. There are a lot of potential looks that San Francisco can throw at their opponents, Jack.
Yeah, with Mikey in, you expect a little bit of Wrecking Ball, which will be nice to see. Wrecking Ball is not as hindered as someone like a Winston when you go up against Sigma. Wrecking Ball also against the Doomfist. It can be a little bit frustrating. The Wrecking Ball just wants to dive onto the backline, but if you're kind of checked with the Doomfist punch over and over again, yeah, it can be a little bit tough. The last match they actually played against each other, Mitch, was at the kickoff clash. And Atlanta Reign kind of blew through them. It was a 3-1 series. But like we said, the San Francisco Shock just didn't show up on LAN. Like, they were maybe a little bit nervous. Maybe that impacted them a ton. But when they're online, it's a whole different ball game.
They turn around and
seems to be able to do both very well. Yeah. Which is nuts, because then previous to that, they got 3-0 by the Fuel. Like, it is wild, honestly.
Whole different ball game for the San Francisco Shock here. They're looking to show us exactly why they're able to have such an incredible streak, even up against very quality opposition so far. New Queen Street is going to be our first map in this series, and like we sort of said, we've seen the Dallas Fuel try that Wrecking Ball setup, and it's looked extremely good against Sigma, right? And getting in Sojourn's face and sort of, you know, clearing off a lot of that high ground control. Now the question is here, we've seen teams try and play Sigma on this map. Doesn't look that great, you know what I mean? We saw Kalios have to sort of switch off of it there and realize that he wasn't favoring a poke composition. But when you're up against Hawk, you don't know if you're going to have to deal with Doom or Sigma or anything else like that. The one thing we didn't really mention is that the DPS matchup is just insane in this series. I mean, it gets even crazier, I think, when Kilo comes in, but already, like, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, it is a little bit ridiculous. Like, they have Kilo still sitting on the bench. Sam has been a very nice addition to the roster too, another very flexible player, and that's what people have praised the Atlanta Reign for too, to be fair. Their tank line is extremely flexible. Hawk can play a whole bunch of things. They still have Gator as well on the bench, so when it's like a main tanky meta, we're going to see Gator come out in full force, I can imagine. But with Hanzo, this is a very kind of slow style in terms of DPS. Like, Hanzo wants to sit all the way at the back. I mentioned it before in previous series, but Hanzo is like the poor man's Sojourn, right?
Right.
Like, you can get the one-shots across the map, but he has a little bit less mobility and a little less consistent damage and like in-your-face potential that the Sojourn has. So it is definitely an interesting matchup. I definitely favor the Sojourn, but Hawk going down first? All right, okay, not really what I expected.
The shot playing's so compact there. I mean, we're watching from Kai's point of view, and he can barely see any of San Francisco's players. Every now and then we see Mikey roll by, but it looks like Hawk went pretty deep when Kai didn't quite have the sightlines to support him. And the Discord Orb, Finn's damage there, and he ends up getting claimed by Proper. Finn Zen, something well worth talking about, right? This guy is pretty insane. Tied for third in final blows. The fewest amount of deaths on Zenyatta out of anybody right now. So another lethal weapon in the back line. Here's the pile drive from Mikey. Ooh, it's a lot of CC.
It is a lot. But Venom actually ends up going down. Discord Orb and an arrow will do it. As one of the little frustrating things to die to is just like an arrow and orb and a Discord Orb on top of you. Can end your life instantly. But Venom's got a pulse bomb, so he really wants to open this one up. But a very early nano shot. Aggression. You love to see it.
Proper gets it here. Pulse, Ultraviolet's out a step ahead of that one into the disruptor shot, but Proper's just there. UV not even really looking at Proper, maybe concerned about what's going on elsewhere, as Violet is going to be felled by Venom. So both Traces strike gold here, comparatively speaking, but Venom again gets shut down by the Hanzo play. Sam is having a real impact here, Jack.
Yeah, massive impact on the Hanzo right now. Kai's not really finding any space or time to charge up the railguns. So it's a little bit more, okay, we have to be a little bit safe here, a little bit further back. I need my railgun, like I need to find these like instant kills, but it's more like, oh, Proper's actually killed somebody already. He's got nanos in the back line. We need that railgun really fast. We need a one-shot somewhere. Like, Kai, it's a bit more difficult to play out on this map, to be fair. You have to almost step out into the enemy's field of view before you can really make a big impact. And charging off of a Wrecking Ball, it is a little easy, but it's also not as easy as like a Sigma. You have to rely on your tracking from across the map to really charge up to 100.
I don't know if Kai realized he was walking into a Sonic Arrow there. Fortunate not to get punished. Hawk able to get out of jail free here with this Meteor Strike, but he'll be 34 HP when he drops, so yeah, needs to be very, very careful. And I'm going to top him up the rain. As Kai almost gets clipped by that dragon coming through here. It sections off OG, but that's about all it really does. Finn has the Transcendence in play now, and Proper doesn't need the Pulse Bomb to finish off Hawk. This is the Rain slowly getting dragged off their horse again.
Damn, the body block there from Mikey just helping Proper finish off Hawk. Hawk couldn't do anything. And he's actually switching over to D.Va instead. Like, thinking, yeah, I'm just getting isolated on the Doomfist over and over again. At least I can help my backline, which has had like a decent impact, but now you'd expect it to really pop off and shine. Because look at that. Look at that defense matrix used entirely on Ultraviolet. Still goes down to Sam with a headshot.
Hawk is, I mean, not feeling good about playing the D.Va right now, I'm sure. Why are the Reign having so many problems trying to eliminate Mikey? He seems unkillable here.
Yeah, I mean, it is Wrecking Ball at the end of the day. Like, I'm sure you've all played against good Wrecking Ball players in your ranked game. You're like, how are they still alive? Like, how? Please tell me. And the survivability of Ball, pretty damn high, especially with those overshields. Venom goes down again, this time to Finn. This is not the rain showing up like everybody thought they would. Kai is also dead. Okay. And Nano wants a proper. Why not? Cherry on top of the cake. Ultraviolet has to get mad pocketed to try and survive.
This is San Francisco at their unsullied best right now. Mikey able to roll back to the bot, but Ultraviolet finally strikes, and it gets rid of Sam. This seems to be enough to precipitate a retreat from the San Francisco Shock, but the damage is surely already done. That's Mikey's, what, second death so far this round? And the Shock are way ahead. We're heading into half-time here.
Yeah, I don't know about those mines, but I mean, still, if you're still killing people, proper still on the point, yeah, he's just going. Nice eat from Hawk, but Finn is still. Okay, now he's dead, but he got 2 kills in that fight and stalled out the payload for so long, Mitch.
I can't believe
he was able to come back and touch the point.
He plays like that and still has the least deaths of Zenyatta players in the league per 10. Like, that's what's so astounding about him. Sam finds Venom again. Venom is 3 and 5 right now on this Tracer. And at least 3 deaths have come from Sam himself. Gearing up to try and deal with the DV here as Hawk gets nanoed and pushes forward. Sam's in his sight. How to avoid this? Self-destruct goes off, but Hawk can't get back into his mech because Sam has found him as well. And this Hanzo is really having an outsized impact on the game.
Yeah, unbelievably giant impact right now. All Dragons. Just going to split the team, but Ultraviolet was already dead.
He got Venom! He got him!
Wait, how did he get Venom? There's no way. Was he hiding underground? Maybe?
I'm not sure. He had a Discord on him, potentially, as there was a kill involvement from Finn, but that seems so strange. So long after the Dragon Strike very clearly just bustled through that part of the map. We may never know. Or we'll have our spyful EVS operator find the exact clip, and then we can laugh.
Nano on proper.
Here goes Mikey, pile drive, OG. It's got to be a Transcendence there for Ultraviolet. He fires it off instantly. Proper slept here, but can get out with the recall. Kai looking for his next victim, and Finn, first on the chopping block. Violet able to survive for now, but yeah, he realizes he's in a dangerous position.
Wow, that was a really nice bit of slide. I'm not sure if you can call it a tech, but he slid through, and you heard the sound like of Mikey thudding into him, like you'd get booped, but he slid at the same time, so he didn't move in the direction Mikey was moving, and he ended up instead just moving in the direction his slide was going. That was actually pretty cool. I'm not sure I've seen that
so it's like
just yet, at least not in 4K HD as we were watching there, but that was cool. I'm not sure if that was
actually weren't. It's a work in progress.
That was cool, yeah.
That's a good
That's true. That wasn't supposed to be a joke, but okay, it turned out to be.
Sorry, Jack, I had to do it.
Yeah, that's fine. All right. Hey, not my bad. Post bomb for proper. They are so far ahead though, Mitch. Almost 100 meters and 3 minutes to go. The Rain need to win like at least 5 fights at this point. And Venom's already almost out.
Yeah, has to recall there. Sam must have been pushed by Kai there. There's no way he falls into a disrupt the shot unless Kai takes the fight to him. Look, the Rain, for all their buff and bluster here, just haven't made much progress with the bot. 17 plays 98, and they're risking losing this fight as well because Proper just found a quick double. Finn gets a Discord up straight on Kai, and Proper's going to surge forward. UV's here with that Discord, and he just explodes under Proper and Finn's scrutiny. This is not good for the Atlanta Rain. That's putting it awfully nicely.
He's still going, man. He's still going. He's got 17 limbs to Venom's 6 right now. Venom is just not having an impact. This is not the Rain I thought would show up today. 2 minutes to go. Shock have control of the bot. They've got Nano. They're going to give it to Proper again, and he is going to one-clip Ultraviolet before OG can react. Watch this. There's just no shot it happens. It doesn't happen.
Biter grenade there thrown. Violet not connecting. It's going to be Hawk to get the Nano. Now able to find Sam at the very least, but not before he takes down Venom, so this is a very awkward situation for Hawk. He's discorded and that Nano's run out. Got to be run down by Mikey, forced to pull out there with that Meteor Strike. This is just going bad to worse, awful quick.
Yep, 2 minutes to go. What more else is there to say? Hawk's on Ryan. He's on Ryan. The character Ryan. I'm not sure. I mean, a good defensive tool around the payload, yes. Venom switch over to the Hanzo because his Tracer's not getting all too much. Transcendence has been used, but Rob's got a pulse bomb. You've got to watch out. This could be the end of the map. If they win a fight here, it's a full completion.
Finn's Transcendence, you think it got forced there, but it looks like he wants to use it to try and get aggressive. Oh, very clear signal to his team. Go forward, get them. The Batista's already down. OG, it's felled by Mikey, who's really being very punishing on this Wrecking Ball. Sam, by the way, 12 final blows, 4 deaths. Huge Hanzo play. And Mikey with a cheeky double. This is, I mean, Atlanta have no idea what to do against this ball play. They have no clue.
That was a really nice Dragons by Sam, isolating people on the high ground. Easy cleanup for Mikey. Perfect and precise. There's a couple of meters before they end. Proper's got pulse. They're ready to rock and roll. They've got mines. Every explosive in the book.
Drone's down. Pulse. Oh, the stick's there! Ultraviolet is down! Proper gets rid of the drone here, and I think the Shock, they actually want a full cap finish here, and they might have it. Hawks in with the Discord orbit. It's Mikey who goes upstairs.
He got kicked into mines.
Oh, for shame. Atlanta Rain. Say it ain't so. The Shock get a full clear against the team that handed them the fattest L over in Texas. Well, that's a turnaround if I've ever seen it.
Can we get a replay of Finn kicking the Rhine into mines, please? Oh my God. That was a stomp. Like, to put it lightly, I did not expect Atlanta Rain to come out like this today. An extremely cold start. Kai didn't really have much space to work with on the Sojourn. Sam, you know, I said I prefer the Sojourn to the Hanzo more often than not, but Sam had an unreal impact on the Hanzo, Mitch. And then Venom was also a bit of a non-factor. Proper just out-traced him.
This is the San Francisco Shock we've been treated to all season long until they get outside, apparently. Let's see if we get more of the same for San Francisco, and the Rain are going to need to show us a little bit more of that depth we've been hoping for. said lightning doesn't strike twice has never met the San Francisco shot.
Some of the most hardcore carry performances that I've ever seen.
Just a depth of talent on their roster that can't be denied.
I mean, what more can you ask from the Shock?
This is going to be a wild ride.
Violet is cracked. He's out of his mind.
I say that justice. Okay.
Faced with everything right now.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Sam is deadlifting right now, actually.
Finish is doing so much. Cleans it up like DPS and Yada.
San Francisco has cemented themselves as the greatest team in Overwatch. Oh man, here's those final moments from Finn here. Well, when you go to the fighting dojo, it's Hitmonlee or bust apparently. That's just, that's wrong.
He's got a black belt, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, you'd love to see it. I knew something stupid would come out of the Zen kicking ability, the new passive, the new kick.
It's just the beginning, Jack.
It literally is. Yeah, it's scary stuff. I mean, the new beta's around the corner, so I can imagine a billion more clips are going to come out of that. So that's great. One substitution for the Shock. Kalush is in, Mikey out. So less of that wrecking ball and more variance for the Shock. But right now, do they need it, Mitch? I don't know, because the Atlanta Reign come out of the gate and they're just kind of invisible. Like, and this is exactly opposite of what happened yesterday. They looked really good, but they looked really good against the Titans. It turned out to be a fairly good game, and the Titans also were like, whoa, okay, this is looking like a brand new team. They all looked pretty happy on the camera too, and with the performance against one of the top teams in the league right now. But this is not the same Reign that was playing yesterday, I feel. Something is vastly different.
Yeah,
maybe it's
their
just
opponent
new Queen Street.
is much better. What do you bloody think?
But I don't expect them to come in and get full capped on again on New Queen Street. Like, Venom had a very good game yesterday. Yes, it was against Titans, but still, you expect Venom to do a little bit more than he was doing. Sam was shutting him down over and over again on that.
It looks like to me the Shock want to play a poke composition here. Otherwise, they might even stay with the Wrecking Ball on this map. We know that Dallas like to play Wrecking Ball here on Route 66. You know, like mixed results. Ultimately, it sort of worked out for them. So the Sigma here from Kalush, no surprise to see him brought in to fill that role. Sam on the Hanzo. So, I mean, one of the teams that are maybe playing more Hanzo than almost anybody else. I mean, okay, Seoul Dynasty play every DPS, they don't really care. But, you know, seeing what Sam was able to show us earlier on, I think there's reason to fear San Francisco able to get it done without Sojourn at all.
Yeah, which is insane because Sojourn is so strong right now. Which is nuts. But Sam's Hanzo, yeah, put me to sleep. That's for sure. Put me to sleep. Shut me up is what I should say. He didn't put me to sleep.
There might be antonyms or another in this context.
Yeah, completely wrong word. But yeah, it did shut me up. Although I still like Kai on the Sojourn. I think he'd rather play that than Widow. Widow is usable on this map, but in Overwatch 2, when everything happens very quickly, long-range maps are very much preferred. And this what not so much, especially if you have a Tracer up against her and a Genji from Proper.
All right, so the Reign take the cave here. The San Francisco Shock seem happy enough to sort of giving this space up. Sam has good sightlines, kind of either way, right, if they sort of take the cave. This does mean the card starts to move forward and Kai has an acceptable vantage point, but he's still playing against Hanzo, who absolutely outranges him outside of a small window of having Rail up. Kalush trying to hold the Reign at bay, but they take all of its real estate. Now, what can they do with it?
Yeah, they're looking for a giant pick here. That's really all that they need to then hit that go button and prop and go in unhindered. But the payload is moving for free. Very good rotation from the Atlanta Reign right now. And the Batiste can set up on the high ground with the OG. Sam gets isolated. The Shock kind of, yeah, now they're starting to unravel. Although, that lamp is going to save Kai, not for long, as Proper was right on top of it. Double kill, in fact, for the Genji. OG's there with a bash, doesn't stun anymore, but still does a fair bit of damage, knocks people away. Nice boop, and that'll be it. Wow, Reign, take that point easily. Shock just got out-rotated there, through and through. Sam couldn't find a pick. You can tell that by, well, the amount of damage and ult charge he has. Proper cleaned up a couple of kills at the end, but needed that initial pick to be a little bit more safe in his engagement.
Yeah, Sam finds one kill there, and the texture of that fight is completely different. And then it makes sense for San Francisco to have given up all that space, right? I mean, now it just looks like they gave it up for free, didn't do anything, but obviously that's not the case. The idea was there, the execution lagged behind it somewhat. So, Gravitic Flux here, online for Kalush, who gained a lot of ult charge while, you know, backing up as he went. Here's a gravitic flux to the high ground. Did I catch Ultraviolet? Unclear. Kai caught inside that. Proper able to finish the job here as OG takes his way up to that high ground. Ultraviolet pressured in the back. Proper calling for healing here. Waiting for his chance to go in.
He's going to get a free blade, maybe. That rally is flying away, and a huge nade.
Nano here thinks about the blade, but doesn't need it at all, really. Dragon strikes out enough to claim Ultraviolet, and Proper says, well, I'll save this for later.
Ooh, Venom. He's good, he's good, he's good. Yeah, that was a really nice bit of aggression from Proper, and really nice patience too. Not using that blade as soon as he gets nanoed. I think a lot of Genjis, as soon as they get hit with nano, just pop that blade. You know you're going to win the fight, so not worth using it, and you can use it in this next one. Nice nade from Violet again, what a surprise. But the Atlanta Reign have a big tool here. Proper has to go fairly quick. If Ultraviolet is just allowed to sit behind this window for half a second, they should be good. That rock from downtown.
The angle was nice.
All right, there's a window. Proper has to go, or he has to back off. He's looking like he's want to back off right now. Yeah. So they're going to wait for this to come out.
Oh, the second he peeks, Kai was on him. Sam having a much quieter round so far. It's been about Proper so far.
Nice flux.
Okay, Violet, the Transcendence was going to be there, but Hawk actually catches him with a bouncing Hypersphere. Here's that Immortality field that Proper just gets rid of. OG able to go down, so Proper able to strike at least, but it's not remotely enough. And without Violet for the time being, the Shockers still retreating. They're still backing away.
That was a super nice flux from Hawk there. Isolated Violet. Finn used the Transcendence to try and get to him in time, but wasn't able to. The Hyperspheres finished him off. Headshot from Sam doesn't result in anything because he's using Storm Arrows. It's not a fully charged, like, regular shot. Control on the height is important. Take that away from Kai, but Kai using the Disrupt shot to push him down and an instant kill.
Yeah, this isn't enough from Sam. This isn't remotely good enough, especially as opposed to the previous map. The Shock need the Hanzo to dominate the high ground. Instead, Kai is hunting the Hanzo. Kaluge brought down in front of the card here in 4 round minutes for the Atlanta Reign to finish the map through this last phase.
You get a lot more control of space, especially in like a 1v1 scenario, 2v1 or 2v2 scenario. If you are Sojourn, that Disruptor shot stops Sam from staying on the roof and taking. Oh my god, okay, well, Violet just dies out of spawn. Very epic, Kai, thank you. But that's one of the big things about the Hanzo. Now he's in a position where he can lob the logs down towards the payload. On point 2, you get a lot less space, so the Hanzo's under a lot more pressure. That's where Kai really thrives on the Sojourn. Venom finds another pick on and Violet dies from spawn. Again to Kai.
Yeah, the Reign are dominating right now. Kai obviously is you know, pretty hard to match on a good day if you have Sojourn to go head-to-head with him, but picking off the Ana both times as he walks out, Kai almost has this extra sensory feeling that there's going to be a gravitic flux coming his way, so he dodges it. There was a Bionade to follow it up here, and the Reign are having to handle things now as they back up and then retake that high ground. Consistent pressure being applied here, and Sam doesn't really have good sightlines to work from, but the Reign have stepped off the car for the time being, but it's only for a moment. Here it is, Kai doing Kai things. And he'll be able to circle back around the cart. And the San Francisco Shock looked god-awful. Absolutely horrendous on that defense.
This is the Reign that I thought would show up. Like, the teams have swapped. It's almost like the last series where one team dominates one map, the next team the other team dominates the next map. Like, what? That was an unbelievable offense from the Atlanta Reign. Definitely helps that Kai got 2 one-shots onto Violet on 3rd, so they were able to walk up for free. And something small to mention too, well, I guess it's fairly big, especially in that last fight, OG and Ultraviolet kind of clapped there. Not only did OG get out of the flux, he hit the rally at the nice time when the flux was going up, so everybody was getting overhealth, everybody crashed back down. Violet hit a nice anti instantly from Ultraviolet, the lamp comes through, so Hawk doesn't die, who is on very low HP, like would have died with like a Genji dash at that point, and they were able to sustain Hawk through it, sustain OG through it, who also got antied. So the backline from the Atlanta Reign there really helped them secure that map. Kai obviously headshotted people, yeah, but the supports keeping everybody up and healthy within that game, and Hawk on the high ground, Sigma on the high ground, it's hard to dislodge at the best of times, and you have OG and Ultraviolet at your back, so really nice all-round play from Atlanta Reign there on defense.
So what's Sam going to do? What's the pick here? He's 1-5 on Hanzo in that previous round. Obviously, it looks vastly different. It's a very different map type as well. We had less opportunity to shine. There needs to be some recovery, right? How does he sort of jumpstart himself? Looks like Hanzo is still the play here on offense. That seems fine, completely acceptable. Let's see if Sam can get value here. He really has to.
Hit a very wicked shot if you hit the Storm Arrows up against the walls in the tunnel, get a couple of headshots. They ricochet now.
Yes.
I've only ever managed to get one kill with ricocheting arrows, and that was on Hanamura. Got the clip though, so we're all good.
Thank God.
But I think
posterity. What would we do?
I know. How would you know? You know, how would you know?
I just have to believe you, wouldn't I? That's awkward.
I know. Impossible. But nice off angle from Sam. He is going to get pressured out by Kai, and like I mentioned before, Mitch, Hanzo's a little bit tougher to play in these mid to close range fights, and you can see him just getting juggled by Venom and by Kai. He took a nice off angle, tried to pressure out the shield from Hawk so Kaluj could make some free space, but it just wasn't to be. Taking those off angles as Hanzo, you only get that short range leap, and it's not enough to escape from a Tracer.
Also notice the Atlanta Reign that went aggressive in the caves and tried to re-establish that space, right? Makes it a little bit harder for Sam to play forward and have consistent support from the high ground. That's why he was able to be torn apart by those DPS here. You can see Proper. Okay, they're able to force out an immortality field now, and Proper gets a glimpse of Venom as he does loops around the cart. Recall there, so he's tracked that cooldown. Kai is really scary right now. And Matrix also coming from the shock from the low ground here, and OG's down. Violet going to make use of that Matrix, and an immortality field has been removed, but the player advantage for the shock here, they look to convert on it.
Yeah, the windows are super big. Oh, Flux. Hawk's dead here, 100%. Yeah, okay. Humongous. It was isolated from his support. You can see Ultraviolet's over there on the side, and Proper followed it up with some additional damage if Hawk got healed. What I was going to say, Mitch, was the windows from both maps are fairly crazy in these comps. You can one-shot people as Hanzo, and you can one-shot people in the body with an arrow, and you can one-shot people fairly easily with Kai's railgun.
Yeah.
So as soon as those windows come up, you have to run. You can put an immortality field down to try and stop yourself getting one shot, but if that dies, you're just gonna get torn asunder. Like, it's super tough for you to regain control of a point if a window is blocking the route.
Proper doesn't expect Venom to come from there. I think he must have eaten a railgun. It wasn't even fully charged. Didn't have to be though. No way you're ready for that. This is an awkward Dragon Strike. Hawk. Good immortality field from Ultraviolet there. Great response, and it just keeps the rain ticking. Just though. Now here comes the second wave of damage from San Francisco, and Ultraviolet is bowled over.
That's a lot of ults in a small corridor. And Hawk is over while mid-flux.
That's so
cancelled. He was in a small room, and the Transcendence was going off, so the likelihood of you actually picking up a kills there was slim, but maybe they could have come up with something. That was kind of disastrous from the Atlanta Reign. Again, Ultraviolet and OG are doing a really good job of keeping everybody alive. That lamp, like you said, with the Dragon Strike, kept OG in the fight. It's a pity that they couldn't survive the onslaught of damage and the shock just running at them in that mega health pack room. Right, they do get another chance to defend. They've got Rally, so you're looking to maybe rally early and make sure you don't get pulse-bombed. Maybe take high ground and then hit with the Rally. Depends how they want to engage this, because Venom has a pulse bomb at 2, so ideally just plant yourself down, overlooking the payload, but someone still has to touch.
If Sam can hold on to this high ground, this is very difficult for Atlanta to come back into this fight. Talked about pulse bombs, there's one. Okay, Ultraviolet doesn't even have a chance to get stuck with it. Proper just blows him up there, but Hawk gets rid of the Baptiste now. San Francisco still have the Ant Matrix in play, but no Baptiste to make use of it. It's Kaluj trying to command the high ground while he can, and the Gravitic Flux may help, but where does it get aimed? At Kai, he slides out of it, definitely able to avoid that key ultimate. Kaluj doesn't hit the rock either now. Things are getting a little uncomfortable for San Francisco. They have to back up.
Man, Proper had 3 targets in his sights in that attack. He was, almost got kicked to death there. That would have been painful. Very late post bomb from Venom. Maybe you should have saved that. I mean, everybody was backing off. I guess you get a stagger kill would have resulted in an additional like 15 seconds. Yeah, maybe it's not the worst. If it connected, it would have been great, but it didn't, which sucks. But yeah, Proper had 3 people in his sights there at one point.
Oh, what?
Okay, Violet jumps up and just dies.
Yeah, Kaluj is on the low ground for whatever reason. I think they're trying to split him to the high ground, play an off angle, but that left Violet kind of exposed.
Yeah, not sure. Yeah, Violet tried to jump up to height, and he peeped his head out, and then it was just headshots. Venom, so he died like instantly. It's tough. Yeah, I'm not sure what Kaluj was planning. I guess going up the stairs. But going below a Sigma comp, especially with a Brig next to you, it's pretty tough. Cave seems like the best way to go, but still attacking against a Brig is rather annoying. You give your Z sightlines though, ideally. Sam's in trouble.
Yeah, Harmony Orb on him though, so just takes a quick breather and he can get back into the fight soon enough. The disrupt shot is annoying. Means that Sam just needs to reposition a little bit. There's a Transcendence in play for Finn. The Shock, they were very split the way they're playing, but that's what allows Proper to find this elimination. With the help of that Discord Orb, Ultraviolet down to half health. That might force a regenerative burst, which is good for Proper. He can get that ultimate away, or that ability rather. Feels like an ultimate at times. Gravitic Flux here, but it's going to be an Immortality Field in play. Hawk doesn't go for it. He goes for the player instead and comes up with nothing.
Yeah, regenerative burst is insane. It gives you 50 instant HP now. Kai is extremely low. Oh, well, Finn and Proper, two-man tag team in the back.
Oh, that's a beautiful pick. The Stork delivered a baby, but it's not the one you were looking for if you're Ultraviolet. He was not ready. Proper dropped that right on top of him there. And that card's going to keep moving. OG's going to get caught inside the saloon here. And eventually Atlanta Reign are going to be brought down. But look, relatively speaking, Jack, staunch defense from Atlanta. Think about how much time the Reign had to work with here. The Shock are going to be struggling to have an equal time bank.
Oh, Venom versus Proper. Proper has recall. Venom does not. Maybe in a couple of seconds.
Oh, there it is.
Nice body shot. Yeah, I mean, he knew, like, he's got to get cleaned up there. You can't stall out for too long. I mean, what, you distract Proper, but then they just walk forward and kill the rest of your team? Like, kind of sucks. Yeah, generally this point of the map can be ended pretty quickly if you do what Atlanta Reign did, which is kill the supports over and over again. But with high ground like this, Sam's going to have a little bit of a tougher time, not only because he's against a Brig, but because they're so split up as well. So has to dedicate his time shooting one target, while the others on the side are trying to take care of him. Flux to start off the fight, though, with the Dragons.
Okay, it's going to be an Immortality Field there for the Baptiste. Oh, it's actually on the platform, not on the low ground there. Interesting. So Venom gets taken down. Sam found it with a Storm Arrow. Air Matrix thrown out, but Kai's not looking to make use of it right now. He's more concerned about the personnel on the card and sends Sam packing with a bruise, but he's still alive until Kai finds a second shot.
Oh, I was waiting for him to right-click the Tracer. A right-click at a body shot and a melee will kill you. Worth keeping in mind, so if the Tracer gets too close, a big old right-click and a melee will send it to spawn. All right, very defendable. 50 seconds to go. Whoa, Sam switching over to Mei, and they're Proper going Sojourn. Okay. Hanzo? Proper? Okay, they're going Hanzo. You sure? You want to change again? No, they're good. Okay. So, oh, well, that sucks. Violet is just having a bit of a rough time on the third point, apparently. The Mei to isolate the Sigma, Mitch, but that's about it. Ultraviolet and OG more than willing to fight in this small corridor.
That was sick from you, V.
Bring at the back.
I mean, he's able to use those Exo Boots to keep Hawk alive, even though Hawk sort of blunders his way into a wall. He's maybe not expecting to see Sam on the Mei, and that could have been pretty punishing for Atlanta, but he gets bailed out by his backline. And so now the Reign can reconvene here again for a last defense, and the Sam Cat is out of the bag. There's a Mei on the field, and now the Reign are looking to play around it. Ultraviolet's lost that Immortality Field already, though, so a little bit dangerous here for the Reign. They might opt to give a little bit more ground here as Sam harasses from the side. What a shot from Kai, though. It's going to be a rail connecting, but OG's going to be brought down by Finn. It's the backline of the Shock now showing their teeth. The lethality cannot be denied. Finn with some charged orbs. He wants to pressure Venom out of those sight lines, though the Discord Orb makes it even riskier for the Tracer to come back to the fight. So San Francisco have a few moments of card push, but Proper gets more than he intended. He goes down. Violet able to trade though and get rid of Venom. It's going to be Hawk stepping back to the card on the Doomfist. Violet trying to make use of the Air Matrix if he possibly can. And that Atlanta Reign Air Matrix is so far forward here. Violet looking cool as a cucumber now. It's just OG to be brought down. Immortality Field being held onto for a rainy day. And so the Shock look to be finishing the map here. Venom has to recall. Another shot to try and stall this out. And now it's Ultraviolet's turn. The accretion doesn't connect on the Lucio, but eventually he must succumb as well. So San Francisco are probably going to get it done here. But again, the time bank difference is considerable.
Yeah, 1 minute to 3:38. All that ladder's flying straight towards us. Get down. It's 3D. Imagine if it was. Imagine if you viewed games in the old red and blue 3D glasses, or like viewed, I don't know, esports or whatever. That'd be so stupid.
Get to the IMAX experience. Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, that'd be ridiculous. You were trying to duck every single time like an ice score and arrows thrown at your head.
Yeah. Next thing you know, they get like the haptic feedback verse and stuff.
Oh yeah, on the chair. It's like
fully immersive. Like good lord.
What you get caught in a flux? It like goes up and then it crushes you down a little bit. I don't like this idea actually. It sounds like it gives me motion sickness.
Yeah, I mean,
I've watched this a bit chaotic already. I mean, with all that stuff added on top, I'm not sure how people would feel about it. But okay. Going on to the next round. Yeah, I interrupted you. My bad.
You're fine. Look, okay, so
I was gonna say Sam May, I really like it for the offense because you're able to isolate Hawk. But one of the big reasons why BAP was so good when people were playing the May comps is that you can just jump over the wall, and being able to do that. Not playing like an Ada who has to literally break the wall or like nade over it and hope you hit somebody. You just jump up, hit the lamp, and the wall is just a complete non-factor. I do really like it on these points too, the way you can wall off one of the sight lines and then make a big rotation. The Atlanta Reign didn't need to do that on their offense. They just kind of walked at San Francisco Shock. They fell over. Crap. But doing something like this, yeah, it's pretty bad if you're the Reign and not expecting it.
Yeah, that's fantastic. The May is the perfect answer to defensive teams trying to hold the cave, right?
Yeah,
that's
literally
perfect.
just walk at them.
Oh. There's no way you're expecting that if you're Atlanta. Nice little tweak there from Sam. Obviously, we got to see his May in that previous round, right? And you kind of know what the idea is, but this is crucial when you're behind in that time bank. The Reign will have another opportunity to defend here. And they're gonna really want to put a stop to San Francisco before they get a first checkpoint. That's where things get a little dicey. It's a 2-minute time bank difference, right? More than that, in fact.
Oh, big wall. There's
one.
the jump over, though. Immortality Field has been used. Should be easy to defend against it, but the payload's still moving with OT in progress. Now, everybody's in that small corridor, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam finally dies. Okay, so that would have been dangerous if Sam got alone.
Immortality Field got used early on in that fight. Proper has to get away from the cart, but it's an overtime, so you can't really dodge away, and here it is. Kai comes back in, and I like it. It's cute. The May look, the gimmick from San Francisco allows them to put a lot of pressure on Atlanta, but the Reign were ready to come back in and fight once more, and they'll get a stop here outside of Big L's.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so with Sam going down, it was like almost a perfect position for Sam to be in. Everybody's in a corridor. You just hit the wall. You kind of try and hit it in between everybody, or like the first person that's the furthest forward. Isolate the person, maybe kill them. They already used lamps, so it would have been a guaranteed kill. The only problem with that is that you potentially have 4 people on the other side who could have broken the pillars, and it would have been easy for the heals to heal it. So it's like a give or take in that situation. I like the Atlanta Reign, how they kind of handled that too. They obviously high ground, Sam goes to the wall again, jump over with the BAP, put the lamp down, and then they just stick together as a unit. So a wall just can't separate them, and even if it does, there's too much damage from them that they can just break one of the pillars, and the healers can get the heals necessary to keep people in that fight. I really do like the May. It begs the question, actually, Mitch. Sorry to go right back to the beginning of that round, but did the Atlanta Reign scout initially? I don't think they did. Otherwise, they wouldn't have maybe all held in the corridor.
Yeah, the comp doesn't want to play that far forward. I don't think you have time to go back to the high ground, right? Because you have to go up the train car on defense.
Well, you can just dip out on the bridge and use the Sigma shield is what I'm thinking. Oh, okay, we're seeing let's forget that point. We're seeing a close hold here with the May. Love this.
There's no way this
Make it as many fights as possible. They've aided them at least 2 to 3 fights here by holding close because of how far they got the payload.
Look at the Baptiste position. So Finn is indicating, or he's trying to telegraph, that the rest of the Shock are playing back. That's not the case now. We're going to see them push in. All right, so can San Francisco hold from here? It's a little dicey. They got the Baptiste there helping them out. Venom probably needs to try and find a way to put some pressure on Finn here. Here's the wall from Sam. The accretion, okay, just gets a nice block in time. Sees eyebrows at risk of retreating to his hairline there. But they've lost proper here. Disrupt the shot throws down. This is going to force the Shock to disperse a little bit more, but disperse they do. And so do the Reign. Get brought down now. Sam, another ice block. Hawk being isolated now. Violet needs to respect Ultraviolet's positioning, though. It's very messy. It looks like the Shock just play for an early fight and a chance to regroup.
Kai was on a nice angle that entire fight. I mean, the San Francisco Shock got to be wary of those, the concussive blast, concussive shot. Jesus. Yeah, concussive blast. No, that's as far as... I forget. Why am I forgetting the name? Mitch, help me out. Help me out, please. I'm requesting help. No, why am I forgetting the name? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. Doesn't matter. Anywhere on the last fight. Hawk has 20% towards that flux.
All right. Kai again trying to play from a pretty safe angle here.
Disruptor shot. There it is.
God, I'm so speaking of which, I gets fired away. It's a bit of an awkward one, to be honest with you. Don't feel too bad. Here's the M-Matrix now. Remember, Jack, you mentioned how just scary that is for people to deal with. Finn's Immortality Field gets removed, but it's enough time bought here for the Shock to get rid of the Rain's drone as well. Finn is now down. That's an issue. Prophetic Flux is in play, though. It's only really going to catch on a Hawk, who will survive it. He was above half health when he was in mid-air, but the Maywall means that the route of retreat is not good. But look at the healing from OG. It's almost enough to keep Hawk alive, but not quite. Eventually, Kai's going to run him down. The Maywall means that Kai needs to go around it, but around he does go, and that disruptor shot thrown to the cart's going to be able to secure the kill on Sam as Kaluge is low. Gets rid of the drone, but there's the blade from Venom, and the Rain get what they needed. They get the map win, and they're in this big time.
All right, maybe map level 1 was a little bit of a fluke for the Rain. One apiece, good stuff. Because I got stun locked by an ability name. I didn't really talk about the win cons of that fight, but Atlanta Rain had so many. I mean, you have Genji, just the Dragon Blade, no nano, but everybody's so close together. Just getting damage down on the front line was perfect, and Kai just with the ult. The overclock is just so good, and when it's in the hands of Kai, yeah, there was a window right in front of him, Mitch, but no one was looking at him, like nobody, and he was just free firing on people. And you can't let Kai do that because he will one-shot someone with a rail as soon as 100 charge.
The San Francisco shot rising and falling on the back of Sam. Apparently, he was incredible in first map. That second map, pretty invisible. Let's see what the Shock have up their sleeve right now, because they have been going from one extreme to the other.
2 shots, dead in the ground. We ain't the same, pull up. 3 rounds, bro, you done. We let it rain, head pop. So look out when we in the zone. Don't play around. I got a strap, put to your back. Tell you now, we laying it down. Yeah, bands up, trapped out. I bring the dogs, gang out. Look, don't wanna fade and drop out. Got no clout. Think smart, this crucial. We ain't no average usual. Nah, we let it rain. Ain't seen a savage. Who you?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Atlanta Reign and the San Francisco Shock are locking horns big time. Last time these two teams met, it was in a loud arena, and the Atlanta Reign dispatched the San Francisco Shock. But online, it's a different beast. The Reign come in here at 6-3. The Shock are 8-0. But the Atlanta Reign put the pressure on in map number 2, Jack.
Yeah, a completely different story from map number 1, where they got completed on. The San Francisco Shock just pushed the ball all the way to the end of the New Queen Street, which is insane. We don't normally see that, and you wouldn't expect that from the Atlanta Reign San Francisco Shock match. But hey, Route 66 was a completely different beast, mostly at the hands of Kai, especially on that 3rd point. He sniped Violet twice as he was coming out of spawn. Like, you just can't let that happen. Let's have a look at some Kai stats already. Look, from Root, and he's got 33 limbs, 21 final blows, like a set 5 overclock kills. Like, this guy's an absolute nutcase on this Sojourn pick. It's like the hero was built for Kai at this point, it feels.
Okay, so 21 final blows in a map is actually insane, especially when, you know, we don't get a full sort of extra innings at the end of it, right? I mean, we saw that Atlanta Reign were actually able to close out on the Shock relatively soon into their attack. Look, whichever way you slice it, Kai was really scary. And San Francisco haven't really played any Sojourn so far this series. Now, on the first map, New Queen Street, you know, it was fine. We could accept it. We were like, wow, this Hanzo getting so much value. Really got to shut him down, the Tracer especially. But then map number 2, it feels like the Shock were sort of missing something, right? Kaluj comes in. Obviously, his Sigma, very, very good. Kaluj claims he's the best Sigma in the world.
All right.
Fair enough. We get this like May look from the San Francisco Shock, right? They try and use it to trap the Reign where they can, and I thought they were going to get that point A take in extra time, Jack. But eventually, like the Reign just moved back in, and man, when they're confident, that Atlanta Reign team is just so fearsome.
Yeah, extremely scary. And I really did enjoy the Shock offense with the Mei and just isolating people with the walls as they were holding the caves. It's very annoying to deal with. You haven't got enough damage because everybody's so split to break those pillars and save. It was the Brigitte in that instance. It was annoying to deal with, but they ended up stopping them just before they turned the corner on Big Earls. We are going on to King's Row next, and there isn't any subs, so we're not seeing Mikey, so no Wrecking Ball. We're seeing Kaluj stay in the roster. So like I said before, a lot of flexibility with the San Francisco Shock roster. We're also not seeing Kilo, so we've got more Sam, which means Hanzo again.
Yeah,
potentially, or the Mei.
Yeah, like
and I like keeping that in.
Setup maybe from San Francisco.
Potentially.
Right? That's something that the Gladiators would do.
Definitely. I like keeping Sam in because of how flexible he is. Like, he can play the Mei and the Hanzo, and then proper can switch over to the Sojourn if they really need to. But another player that's been very good for the team has been Finn on the Zen. I think we've got a stat card for you while we just wait. I think there's a small issue being sorted out right now, but we'll get into game in just a moment. And this is for the season, Mitch. Like, fewest deaths, second highest limbs. Final blows, he's tied 3rd. Like, what? Normally you see deaths a little bit higher if they go for these big kills, but not Finn. Not Finn.
Right. I mean, I think that's pretty astounding to see from a Zenyatta player like Finn. And on New Queen Street, it was undeniable. His Zen play was just sublime. Plays Baptiste, you know, on Route 66 primarily, and obviously we know why that's just so important, right? Especially, you know, Violet obviously backing up and, you know, keep supporting on the Brigitte here. But yeah, it feels like when, you know, Finn gets to play Zen, it's a whole different kettle of fish that we're dealing with from the San Francisco Shock. So, like you mentioned, no Wrecking Ball in this particular map, King's Row. I mean, we're only seeing Wrecking Ball fairly intermittently now. But, okay, this is where we sort of get an idea whether San Francisco were just that much better or it was just New Queen Street and sort of Atlanta Reign not usually finding great success on that map, or sometimes struggling to find their rhythm. Kings Row will really be the expose for either of these teams if they're running a little under the weather.
Yeah, Kings Row, more of a fan favorite map. I'm glad we're seeing a lot of Kings in the Overwatch League. Always nice to see. And I like the fact that Shock can flex to a lot of things. I want to see Atlanta Reign, what they do on the defense. With Hawk being in, we've seen flicks of D.Va here and there. And I thought D.Va would be more prominent against the Soja, because you can eat the rails with the defense matrix. You can eat the disrupt shot with the defense matrix, and what are the shots that she uses to charge up the rail shot with the defense matrix. But we don't really see that at all, because she's a little bit slower and not as effective as diving into the backline as, say, a Doomfist is, which is exactly what the Atlanta Reign are running.
I feel like Boston tried to play it against Winston on Gibraltar, maybe, like here
Punk
and
was
there.
playing it.
Yeah.
And she's a little bit better on those maps where you can get the high ground really easily, because you just have the mobility, and it's on such a short cooldown. You can go up and down, all over the place.
Right.
But on maps like Kings Row, where it's so focused around the point, the high ground, yeah, it's important, but it's not as important as Watchpoint Gibraltar, which is mostly high ground on the first stage of the map.
All right, here we go. So, poke composition with Finn on the Zenyatta, Sam on the Hanzo. So you've got every reason as a Shock fan to expect this to be explosive. Let's see how the Atlanta Reign scout this out and maybe try and avoid getting picked off early on here, as Sam's already zeroed in on the location of the Doomfist. Let's see how they advance.
I landed asleep, like a cross map onto Kai. Nade followed, but they couldn't capitalize on it. It's such an awkward angle for Sam to be in. He can't really kill Kai unless he hits some crazy Storm Arrow shots, but rather unlikely. Idea for San Francisco Shock here, try and take control of this big corridor and force the range supports down onto the point or on that choke, but Hawk's going to make sure he doesn't do that.
Yeah, Kalusha's taking his time as he advances here. He knows that if he overextends, he's going to be shot from the left, but Hawk takes a little too much damage. Great work, though. Takes to the sky with his seismic slammer, gets topped up, a la Winston. We'll do that pretty similarly. But Kalusha's not being stopped. He's advancing, but he's happy enough with moving up to that first window, Jack, and now he drops to the point.
Yeah, he forced at least one person down from the high ground. Nice nade. Probably won't get finished up, but Hawk falling is bad news. Not really many people from the Atlanta Reign that can touch the point in this situation, and Proper can just go crazy in the back line. And yep, his Genji is also pretty good, by the way.
A good contest, at least, from Venom, right? Violet in such an aggressive position, up on that high ground, getting sort of caught face-to-face with Hawk. It ends up being a trade, right? So, no big deal, but that trademark aggression we don't often get to see from Violet. It's busted out there, and the Proper Genji, man. I mean, there aren't
that was a max range dash.
Yeah, there aren't too many people in the league. I feel like it's like Zest, Prophet, Proper, you know, they're able to just sort of switch onto the Genji and just be insane here. Not so many teams really opting for it.
Yeah, Proper's mechanics are just out of this world, honestly. And they're going to have Nanoblade for this next fight, or well, as soon as Violet kind of charges up. That Nano, not long though. Healer ultimate's still really good and really quick to charge up. It's a little bit more difficult for Atlanta Reign to hold this choke point too, so they end up just giving up all of that space. Nano onto Hawk.
Punch on Kaluja early here, into power block. Cancels it pretty quickly, tries to get to his back line. Ultraviolet's going to get caught in the flux, he cannot escape. He gets taken down instantly. We're Proper finding Kai. Atlanta Reign realized their attempt to start the fight with the Nano Doom has backfired on them. Another pulse, a double from Venom. He was doing that yesterday too, saving his team with this incredible double pulse bomb efficiency, but it's not enough here, not entirely anyway.
How does he, we said it yesterday, Mitch, and how... It's very hard. In 5v5, there's like one less person on the field. Like, getting a double pulse like that, quite difficult. How does he keep managing to secure it? His efficiency is crazy over the last couple of days. Problem is right now, though, Shock have only used 2 ultimates.
There it is.
Ouch. Well, that sucks. There's Nano. Blade.
That's the Sam from map 1. We're now starting to see Riri's head once more. Big pick off on Venom. Proper knows that there's no point expending this Dragon Blade here. Ultraviolet is absolutely dead to rights in this position if Proper gets any help at all. And he does eventually, but it ends up being a trade. Still, the Shock though, a lot of time to work with here. Bionate thrown down to kill the kill, and it will be 430 to work with for the Shock.
And a crazy amount of good sleeps from Violet over these last couple of pushes. He's either sleeping like a support. We saw him sleep Ultraviolet, who then got Flux, but the initial damage of the Flux actually killed him, so he couldn't activate his Transcendence or like get healed in time. Like Violet has just been just a god gamer in the backline currently. Didn't use the Nano Blade. They just used Nano. It was too scary, and they end up winning the fight. So they have this Nano. So they have this blade. In fact, if they so chose, they could just wait for another Nano. They're going to be able to get it fairly quickly now that Hawk switched over to the Sigma, who does a fair bit more damage than Doom, especially in AoE corridors like this with those hyperspheres.
Proper sonicking, or rather Sam sonicking the ground there, trying to get some info on who's inside the room. Kai frustrated with that one. Oh, Sam! No. Did he try and... Oh, God, he tried to climb
Double
this?
Transcendence. Double Transcendence.
All right. Finn pops out. Violet currently down here. Proper back to that high ground, but Venom's going to force him to fight for it. Sam doesn't know what happened there. None of us do, really.
No one does. Okay, they're going to have Nano Blade, bitch. They're going to have Nano Blade. All good, all good. Wipe those last 30 seconds from memory, everybody. Most importantly, though, Ultraviolet and Finn use Transcendence. So free Nano Blade for Proper. And it's a very small corridor to do it in, too. Ultraviolet's right at the back. They're ready to rock and roll.
No. Not enough, and no Nano either. Violet doesn't deliver, doesn't have the time, whatever it is. Venom gets a Nano himself, and it's the Storm Arrows. He just sprays in the direction of Proper that shuts the Genji down. That is bad news for the shot.
Wow. Yeah, I wonder what happened there. Was that like a miscommunication? Did they only want to go in with the blade? Nice reactive Nano from OG, so there wasn't a quick reset from Proper off of the Hanzo. He's now on the Widowmaker, so double sniper for the last point. Flux in the back. Well,
yeah, not great. Hawk's able to kinetic that, and he has to Flux there. Otherwise, he's either Pit or Dragon. He doesn't get much choice. So here's a Flux. Looks like it's, yeah, interrupted by a sleep. That's stunning. Violet takes Hawk down, means that there's no gravitic flux, but the Shock had already lost Sam, so the heroics of Violet may not really be lived to be venerated here. As the Shock have to make it work with 4. OG goes down as Proper's now on the Widowmaker in the longer term. Double sniper for San Francisco as they're trying to finish the map.
unbelievable. Violet's still destroying people with these sleep darts. It's kind of insane. Dragon Strike's going to split them off, but that's about it. Proper found a kill on 2 OG a second ago, but it doesn't really matter. He's so close to the spawn. He actually switches to Batiste instead. The Immortality field's so useful against the Sigma accretions or the Flux, just anything really that Sigma can kind of throw at you. And it's about finding this initial pick once more. Such a hard point to defend. They had 4 minutes coming in, and now they've only got 1 minute and 30 to go. Rotation for the to the spawn for the Shock, but Proper is just unable to find any kills on this Widow right now.
He's definitely putting some pressure down, but it's quite dizzying watching him trying to look for a head, peeking on that left-hand side of the map. Again, another body shot there. Will give the Rain reason to respect him, but it's not enough to give his team the advantage. Transcendence now in this fight here. Hawk is sleeping right now. Double trans, in fact, as Kai is the first to fall. That's a good start. Maybe Proper can get into a more aggressive position now and start to put that pressure on. Venom's Hanzo was good to shut Proper down earlier on the Genji, but the Shock are getting awfully close now. They can taste that blood in the water, and yet they're going to back up around this gravitic flux. Hawk suspended in mid-air is very susceptible to the headshot from Proper, but Kai's going to come out on the Widowmaker and he finds Sam. Ultraviolet gets involved though. Dragon Strike, Kaluj is caught in the middle of it. He can't see anything, and Ultraviolet doubles down. The Rain, they're digging their heels in.
Kai got his ult cancelled again. Like, he pops it and then instantly dies. What a fantastic response from the Shock, but the Atlanta Rain, Kai jumps on Widow, jumps out, gets a headshot, easy game. It was very difficult to kind of end that fight if you were the Shock and put that payload in as soon as those double transcendences came out. The loss of life for the Atlanta Rain was quickly made up for in healing, and then
again!
Sam again? Are you? That's the second time he's done that.
That can't be happening. This is such a crucial moment for San Francisco, and they lose their Hanzo again to an unforced error. Ostensibly, they're not going to get that one back, but they're going to have to carry on nonetheless. Gravitic Flux will catch Kaluj. He's here with the Discord Orb, and he's going to splat on the ground as he's brought down. Proper wants to try and forge ahead, and that might have been a deflected headshot on towards the Hanzo. That's stunning, but will it be enough? Kai's able to bring Proper down, and Violet is also missing. Finn walks straight into that railgun, and oh my... a shambolic finish to the round from the Shock, and again the index finger pointed squarely at the Hanzo falling off the map.
Twice. How did that happen? Sometimes, yeah. Once, okay, it's fine, whatever. But yeah, twice? Was it this? If it was the same jump that he was trying to make, you'd be kicking yourself if you were Sam. Not sure what happened, but
Not a word in all chat either.
yeah. Well, the first one, Kai was like question mark, and he was like, I don't know. But the second one, yeah, more of a.
Yeah, you don't
just a
touch
bigger
those,
mistake.
'cause I think, yeah, if you're, it's almost like secondhand embarrassment from the rain. It's like, we better not push on that a little bit. Let's just focus on getting the map done now and therefore winning the map. Stumble, uncharacteristic
Very rough
stumble from San Francisco.
Yeah, very strange, but yeah, defense. Oh, here the replay. Okay, so what happened here? He was trying to jump and climb.
It was
oh,
the same jump.
what?
He turned
Wait,
around fine.
that. No. That looked like it should have wall climbed there, unless he like hit a weird pixel on the pipe or something. That was weird. I don't know what happened. Should have been able to climb, but yeah,
Right,
don't know.
Okay.
No explanation. Unsolved mystery.
All right, yes, definitely. You know, it's even more of a mystery when we see it in slow motion and still don't know what happened.
Yeah, it's like surely because obviously he thought too. It's like oh, jump across and climb, woo, but yeah, apparently not. Anyway, San Francisco Shock running the same kind of thing, just engaging with the Nano Blade. Is the win con here? The answer Rain, however, don't have that Ana. They've instead just gone with just standard Venom. Just a rotation through the Mega Health Pack room, just to try and force the San Francisco Shock off of their high ground perch. Already Kai's got 80% on his charge. Almost at one-shot potential. I believe it is about 85.
This is reminiscent here of Route 66. The Rain muscle their way in, take a lot of space, and San Francisco aren't able to stop them. They're also not able to use their sort of maneuvering to their advantage. OG's able to push ahead on the Brigitte here. Oh, that's a big body grenade, though. A little scary right now. They all have to back away. Lamb gets used. Vita goes down first, and somehow the Rain are going to survive, getting hit with like a 3-4 player bionic grenade and all going so low. Ultraviolet saved their lives with that immortality field. This is bad news for San Francisco. They've got to try and get back in this fight, and getting rid of Venom might be the first step. It's going to be Necretion that catches the Genji off guard, but Kalush drops down right into the sights of Kai.
The backline from the Answer Rain, once again being a massive backbone. That nade was like humongous from Violet. Just ridiculous, but Ultraviolet whacks down the lamp. He doesn't get a kill for several seconds, and with the change to the biotic grenade, you're not purple for as long as you used to be. They reduced it by a second. So you're able to put down the lamp, it dies, but the time that happens, a second or a full second, yeah.
It was like 3
but still, they've reduced the time, is more of the point. And then, boom, regenerative burst gives you instant 50 HP, heals up everybody around you, plus the break, throwing out the cookies. All good. Answer Rain backline still looking great, and they can play these corners very effectively now. They have Flux, and they have that window. Flux window, seen it once, you can see it again.
All right. Well, window throw down now. Obviously, the Shock not in position to be affected by it anyway, because the Gravitic Flux just split them up completely. Jack, whatever it was that San Francisco brought into that first map, it has run out. They do not look the same at all, and Atlanta Rain are starting to realize our opponent is stumbling. Let's take the initiative.
Yeah, like, just Flux and then window, then walk forwards, and then the entirety of the San Francisco Shock are split. You can either use the shield to block the healing or just use that rock. Someone was pushed into the corner, and they were as good as dead. Okay, Kalush does have his own Flux, though, so this should be fairly defendable.
To win that
Rally, though.
OG getting healed up within it.
It's good enough.
Yep, direct hits, of course, with the bionic launcher. Pretty good for healing. Kalush caught in the middle of here. Maybe biting off it more than he could chew. Probably going to go to the high ground now, but Kai definitely slips away. What does this Dragon Blade get you now? OG's down with an immortality field, stifles Proper's lethality. And Kai's going to try and work his way around the card here, disrupt the shot to force some positioning, but Kalush comes alive there. Crucially, San Francisco finally get their head above the rushing Rapids.
Man, that was a really nice play of positioning there from Kai. Just slid away from the blade. Didn't end up working out in their favor, but the Nano wasn't used on Proper. It was, again, once more, thrown on the Sigma instead. So you gained a whole lot of ult charge in that fight. So you're going to be tying up the ult charge rate for the Sigmas right now. So you were in a situation before where Hawk was going to outlap Kalush, but now they are brought up to par. Or even, I should say. Dragon Blade from Venom. No, no, like nano.
Yeah,
nothing
no.
really to support him after it, which is going to be a bit of an issue.
However, he's down. Venom needs to find a kill here, try and equalize things. Just pressure Kalush, I guess, right? Stay like a safe position, or safe with air quotes. Try and get damage on the enemy tank, but Proper managed to find his way, and at best it was a trade for the Rain, and in reality they come out second best here. San Francisco finding a little bit of, I don't know, solidity here in these last few moments, and crucially, maintaining a lot of these key ultimates. They used none of those in that previous fight. And Venom's now switching off the Genji. He says, I can't get anything done here. It's back to the Tracer for me.
Yeah, doesn't want to mess with the Genji again, and he can't really dive the back line either because Violet's sitting there with a Bionade. If you get swung at once, just quick Bionade to the ground, or as soon as he comes in, you Bionade the ground. The Genji's purple, super easy to take him down, or you just die from the Bionade because you've already taken some damage. So swinging at the tank, probably the best play, but still very annoying to use without that nano.
Kalush used the card expertly to avoid that air matrix there. And Sam's in a safe spot. We're finally on the Sam on the Sojourn, right? First time this series. Pretty good looks from him so far. Kalush just barrels forward. Yeah, that's a stunning setup. Violet has really started to shine here. And I think this is the best support setup for San Francisco. I think Zen Ana is not really conventional, not useful in every composition, but seeing Violet not playing Brig, not playing Ana, playing kind of what he was known for. I mean, in Fit Only Zen, which is like league best, or at least contending for that title, this is a scary look for the Shock.
Yeah, Violet's having a game on the Ana. The sleeps are good, the nades are good. It's what you want to see from he's now just hiding, waiting for another Bionade. Should be easy. Yeah. There's the nade, there's the blade, and there's the kills. Thank you very much. San Francisco Shock setting up perfectly against the Rain there. They're not expecting a random Ana to hold so far forward. It's super uncommon. Like, it's more common, obviously, in ranked games, you know, just like the regular game or whatever. But you don't expect it at the league level more often than not, especially for an Ana to be that alone, you know, super far forward. 30 seconds to go. The Atlanta Rain, now they have to contend with a Transcendence, but that's about it. They need to get this rally online. The rally is the win con. They can't just let San Francisco Shock run away with this one. If Shock go first and they go fast, this Transcendence will win them the fight.
Eyes on Finn here. If they can take matters into their own hands and set the pace, Atlanta Rain may be reeling for too long to get back into the fight. Venom, having switched to the Tracer, has now built up his first pulse pop. Proper a prime candidate if he wasn't flipping and jumping the entire time. It's a two-player Biotic Grenade, but now it's time for Kai to come alive. He goes so low, he was 1 HP. Somehow being held alive though. Hawk with a Discord orb on him, and Kalush is going to come in. With the nano boost, he's close to a gravitic flux, and the Transcendence from Finn bought enough time for the Shock to get positioned for this fight. Kalush, his barrier, it's so low, getting pressured heavily now, but it's Proper to find his way into the backline and finally get rid of Kai. He's a gravitic flux, but Kalush turns away. He knows the window's so lethal to him, but Ultraviolet's immortality field is now down, and it's yet another Biotic Grenade from Violet. What a menace this man has been now, getting to play the Ana, turning his head to Finn, keep him topped up. It's going to be an equation connecting with OG now as that barrier is still in play for Kalush. They can't bring the Sigma down, and that's going to be the death of the Atlanta Rain, if anything else. Sam with the overclock, but it's just not needed, and San Francisco find their flow once more.
What an unbelievable finish from the San Francisco Shock there. Kalush building up to that flux at the very end to try to counteract that rally, that overhealth of that rally. Yeah, it's still percentage damage, so you crash back down and lose so much HP. The lamp was good from Ultraviolet, but it wasn't enough for all that damage. Kai's overclock as well didn't get anything, Mitch. Didn't get anything at all. In fact, one of those shots got reflected back into him, so he couldn't get an aggressive position in case he goes down in that fight. A nice deflection from Proper, and Violet once again hitting big nades. This is the Shock. I mean, they're one map away from taking this series.
Yeah, a little shaky there at map number 2, but they've made their recovery. Can San Francisco finish the job before the Rain shake themselves out of this stupor? We'll stick around and we're going to find out one way or another. right, procrastinators, listen up. Today is your last chance to get your hands on Luchador Reaper. The kickoff clash legendary skin is only 200 League tokens, so don't miss your chance to own a piece of Overwatch League history. I'm telling you, it's on sale today. That's it. All right, if you haven't got it yet, pick it up. If you like cramming before the exam, that's fine. This is the time to do it. Get yourself, obviously, rather iconic skin and one that likely won't be back on sale again. Welcome back, of course, everybody, to the Overwatch League here. It's been a difficult series to really get a proper feel for, excuse the pardon, for how both of these teams are performing, because I will say that Route 66 was a very inauspicious foray for San Francisco. It wasn't good. They looked really weak. The Hanzo play was not there, but they come alive on Kings Row after playing pretty poorly for half the map as well. It's a little hard to tell who has the advantage at multiple points here.
It's very topsy-turvy. I mean, it started out with San Francisco Shock full capping New Queen Street. And now, yeah, it's like, oh, another map. Okay, Lancerine did a really sick job on Route 66. And then Kings Row, it was very 50-50. And now we're going on to Ilios. And we have Mikey coming in and Kaluge stepping back. So Wrecking Ball and more Wrecking Ball for the San Francisco Shock is going to be the order of the day. Now, with Ilios, it's always been the weirdest control map for me, because I think it's more often than not map reliant, depending on where you go, who you want to field, and you just kind of have to take that gambit. Do we go to Ruins or do we go to Well? They both play extremely differently. Now, more often than not in the past, for Ruins, you'd want like Kai on the Widowmaker. But now with Sojourn, who's this kind of intermediary DPS hero that's not as close range as a Tracer, or like you can even argue like a Cassidy, but she's also not as long range as the Widowmaker, but still has the power of a Widowmaker with a railgun. So it's kind of the perfect hero for maps like this that require both the short range and the long range fights. So Lanterrain are probably going to stick with the same thing. Does Venom still play Tracer? He's not had the best day so far. He's had a nice double pulse bomb kill, but overall, throughout this series, not been great. But Ilios is a map where it can definitely thrive, because there's more avenues you can take to get to the backline, unlike places like Kings Row.
Waiting here for Mikey to be in the service, so that's why we're sort of looking at these faces for the time being. Ultraviolet there really living up to his name. Getting a tan in between matches.
Oh my God.
Gotta respect the dedication. Again,
is that the camera just being funny, or is it his monitor's just unbelievably bright?
He's probably alt-tabbed. He's probably alt-tabbed right now, honestly. On like a web page, like a white web page, right? There you go. Tab back in the game. That's
he's just flicking a blank. What is he on, Paint or something? Just like a completely white screen? Don't know. Maybe that's how he clears his mind, Mitch. Maybe that's how he gets into the game.
Let's talk about Proper's Genji. Something we saw a ton of in the previous map. And I think looked most impressive when Violet went for that crazy sort of flanking biotic grenade, and then you see Proper go in with the Dragon Blade there. Despite their difficulties, it's more than 10 final blows per 10. Really impressive. So much so that Venom sort of, in jealousy, tried to match and ended up switching off the Genji, feeling like he just couldn't get anything done. So this is something that, honestly, the San Francisco Shock have that the Reign just don't.
Yeah, Proper's Genji, definitely one of his better heroes, and setting up with Violet like that, not even using nanos. Violet was more often than not just nanoing Kaluge, either catching up in terms of ult charge to match Hawk, or just keeping him alive in these fights, making sure he doesn't go down. Sigma's very survivable anyway when it comes to a hero. With a nano on top, damage reduction, and damage boost as well. It's even better. And it's nice you can still see a blade that works, but it does require that little bit of extra effort with the nade to actually set up and be successful. But when it works, it really works. His mechanics, like we mentioned, time and time again, are extremely good. Looks like people are still jumping into the game. We should not be a moment, though.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco just had to hit the old reboot button on the router, apparently. I don't know why they were all out of their seats for that. I guess, it's kind of like trying
to... They all
have
to go press the button.
Yeah, it's like summoning Captain Planet, you know what I mean? Their hearts have to combine, and they all need to get down there. And I just tagged Ben on Discord personally, but I guess each their own. Yeah. So we'll see San Francisco come back in just a sec. So let's talk about the Wrecking Ball and Ilios then. Jack, now that we have a moment, because you talk about how like your compositions can vary based on which stage you get, but with Wrecking Ball, can you not just play
good on every single one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's sick on every single one. Like, Ruins, he's really good. A lot of things to grapple onto on Ruins with those giant columns, but being able to just slam on the backline and then combine that with either proper, like on Tracer or Genji or whatever, just to finish people off is insane. And with the amount of environmental kills you can get on Well and Lighthouse, controlling the points pretty easy with the Wrecking Ball. Not only that, incredibly survivable, so the stalling potential is also insane. I mentioned it before, but it's a good pickup from the shot. Mikey's been a true asset to the team and someone that can flex in for these maps that require a little bit more like gung-ho kind of behavior, just wanting to slam on the backline, slam pulse, slam just like dash in, or slam just pepper people with the pulse pistols. It's been a good addition. The Atlanta Rain, on the other hand, with Hawk, yeah, they can play these off tanks, and this is something that we saw from Boston Uprising on these maps, was a little bit D.Va. On Lighthouse specifically, D.Va's pretty decent at controlling the enemy high ground and pulling your supports from your low ground also towards the point using that defense matrix. So there's a lot of things you can kind of go for here, but more often than not, you're going to see this. You're going to see the Doomfist with Kai back on the Sojourn, just setting up the Doomfist for success. Kai controlling the high ground. It's like an Ashe. Like days of old when Ashe was actually played, she just sits across the map, just throwing dynamites onto the enemy high ground over and over and over again. You control the high ground. Same with Sojourn. You do the same, and it's very annoying to deal with. If you don't disrupt that, you're going to have a bad time.
Yeah, both of those DPS obviously good at controlling areas with their sort of alternate abilities. So Proper, yeah, just a sim to start with, then over to the Tracer. So Sam is on the Echo. Looking to combine with Mikey as well. Obviously get in there once the pile driver comes down and throw some sticky bombs into the mix. OG, okay, you see OG on the Ana. San Francisco sends Sam over to the point first.
Yeah, I quite like the Echo too. It's quite difficult to take down Kai with the railgun because it's hit scan to do that, but Venom's not really looking towards Sam. In fact, he's looking at a inside of his eye right now because he's dead. Yeah, unlucky. Goes down to Proper in a Discord orb. Finn and Proper are just like an incredible tag team duo too. Like Discord orb on a target, Proper's straight in there. Don't even need Mikey, who was actually capping the point almost that whole time, and he just annihilates him. So very unfortunate. Controlling the height, a lot more difficult against the Echo too. Like you said, those sticky bombs, so annoying to deal with, especially when you got that slam following up.
Proper is on the hunt here. He sees all of the Rains playing together. Ultraviolet, though, very quick to react. Sees him coming. Violet down. Kai found to disrupt the shot kill. Ultraviolet well protected by Phalanx and teammates, but Venom was just dragging himself in the direction of oh my! Ultraviolet reduced to scrap, but the Rain no closer to capturing this point here. Mikey will have to back away, as obviously Violet went down first in that fight, but he'll be able to stall this point out for a decent amount of time.
Yeah, an incredible amount of time before the Wrecking Ball. That punch didn't go... Yes, it did. Okay. I was like, he didn't go off, did he? Finn, unfortunately, sent to a watery grave. Mikey using the... Okay. If he could have built up towards that mines and rolling around a few more times, it would have been even better, but 20% away. Like I said, that's one of the best things about the Wrecking Ball, is that you can stall for a long time, especially if you've got Violet every now and then shooting you with some heals. But 54%. Very good for your first attack and like defense phase, I guess, of control.
No way Kai survives. Unreal. He was bioed and 1 HP. Somehow able to slip away. Hawk, though, not going to fare nearly as well. Yeah, Nano Ball. That's pretty sweet. I think there's no sleep dart available here. Ultraviolet knocked to the ground. Pulse Bomb obviously on Vile on the other side of the map here, but Mikey is still in a great position just to cause a lot of problems for OG. Oh, Finn turns up at just the right time. These guys are mind melding right now. They're on the same page. The Shock and the Atlanta Rain are struggling to match this level of coordination.
Yeah, maybe it wasn't instant issues. Maybe they just need to reset their mind meld, and now they come back in as one. Would make a lot of sense. I mean, last fight now. Copy, Pulse, Mines. You don't have either support over, but that should be okay. You can copy the Doomfist. You can even copy Venom if you want. Double Tracer on the map. We know Sam can play Tracer pretty well too. Pretty scary. Scary stuff. Proper in the 1v1. Already forced the recall.
Venom under a lot of pressure here. Mikey went in with a charge, and it's going to be Hawk in trouble. Discorded as well. Pulse left for him. Can he get away from it? Yes, he's able to sneak into the corner. Sam copies a Tracer right now. Unclear if there'll be a pulse bomb available, but it doesn't matter.
touches.
Yeah, they can't touch. Hawk just couldn't get there. He had to be topped up, I think, for the most part. And I mean, Mikey loves to talk some smack. I respect it, I do. Don't know if that's a Charlie 9er, though.
Not sure if that was a Z9, no. I don't think so. No. No. I mean, the mines were also blocking one of the doors, so that was kind of annoying for Hawk to either walk through and take 1 billion damage, or find another entrance, in which he did, but he wasn't quick enough. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. Shock now up 1 map, or 1 round. 1 more round, and then we'll take the series 3-1. And now we're seeing Shock, very different comp. Do they stay, or do they go to a different one?
You
So, Moira.
You didn't love this. When we saw it in the
really?
past. A lot is going to have to do with how effective this Sombra is, really. When we saw Vancouver try to Sombra comp, what we talked about, it looked really solid. Can Sam live up to what Shockwave has sort of shown as an example of an effective Sombra? Not a great start, but that's fine. He'll be topped up.
Much better.
Yeah, ideally you wanted to just hack that mega health back away, but it's lucky Venom booped into him, little nudge. He was revealed. Yeah, so ideally here with the San Francisco Shock comp, you just want to go in, healing orb straight forward, and you should be good. Follow that up with a hack or pack, and then run into people. The Shock do end up losing Mikey, so a whole lot less space control. Hawk's going to be a little bit more valuable in these. Oh my god, okay, just gets chased down up hacked, unlucky. Oh, nice sleep.
On a
Should
Sombra,
be
no less.
fine though.
Translocate out upon being woken up. So no huge issue there, but this is starting to look better and better for San Francisco. Proper finds that first pick and then, oh, I mean, the guy is just insane. That is ridiculous.
Yep.
I mean, backed up with the hack, right, as Sam's able to return to the fight after being slept. It's all proper. It always was.
Damn. I wonder if there's someone's made a chart out there of you saying that is ridiculous and different levels of it, like different octaves and volumes.
They're all disgusting,
yeah,
filthy.
yeah, filthy. Just like just a classic filthy at the very bottom, and then at the very top it's like grand finals disgusting filthiness. Not sure.
Like Aspire fake filthy, you know?
Yes, that's my favorite new image of Overwatch League Twitter right now, is Aspire's disgusted face. Finn going down without a fade. See, it's why I kind of like the Ana in these comps, or maybe the Batiste. It's a little bit easier to heal the front line if you're all the way back as the Ana. You force the Lantern Rain to kind of come to you, but I can definitely understand in these comps if you just want to go straight forward, healing or spam healing with your left click, build up that coalescence pretty quick. But now the San Francisco Shock have a good position they can springboard from. They've got the EMP and they've got the Pulse. They probably can get a coalescence mid-fight, so it's up to Rain how they want to tackle this, because they've got to know Sam is near this EMP. It's been more than long enough.
Well, Ultraviolet blown up instantly, and oh, OT was in the perfect spot. Violet was there, but Sam probably would have had that kill himself. And this is what the Shock's composition does, though, right? It's not really built for long fights, but isolating individuals, picking them off, and getting a player advantage, easy done.
Yeah, Mikey's ball is also oh, nice pulse bomb onto the Moira. Nice. Okay, well, just Venom seems to do that a lot. Something I want to point out is he uses pulse bomb at the very end of fights, and he normally ends up getting a kill. But it feels like you could save that for the next engagement, knowing that it's 1v3-ish. But then if you do end up getting that pulse kill, you can very quickly turn around control points if your spawners are coming back at a rapid pace.
Pretty good spot for Mind there. Yeah, Pulse Bomb as well. All those ultimates that have been built up by the San Francisco Shock. Now they're getting offloaded. Violet had that sound barrier there, and this is going to put San Francisco within a potential one fight range away from victory.
Live. God. Yeah, you see, Finn is just in the front line, like straight up, not sitting back at all. You can't really with the Moira to get the most amount of effective healing done. And that was one fight territory. It's Kai versus Finn, Overclock versus Coalescence. Is Coalescence normally dangerous to pop when you're against a Tracer, but even more so if you're against Kai with a railgun?
No pulse at least for Venom, so that's not like, oh, it gets interrupted. Hawk having to shut down the Coalescence, but Finn's got no choice but to go forward anyway and like get rid of OG. It doesn't matter, Jack. There's just so much behind that thrust of the San Francisco Shock that the Rain were reeling even after taking the only ultimate away from San Francisco. What a dominant finish to a series that started in a dominant fashion. It's just a filling of that sandwich that confused us a little bit, but eventually the Shock come out 9-0.
That was an unbelievably quick fight. Like, that ended instantly. Coalescence went off, and then the entire team was dead. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like you said, didn't even need it at the very end. A 3-1 victory over the Atlanta Reign. And this, it feels like another game, Mitch, where the score doesn't really tell the whole story. You think, oh, they got a map. It seemed like it was more one-sided towards Shock. It was kind of the opposite. Like, there were some close maps this series. Like, map number one, Shock full capped against the Atlanta Reign, and then the Atlanta Reign just dominated, absolutely dominated on Escort. They still looking really good. They had it definitely wasn't a shaky game yesterday against the Titans, but I think it was more Titans kind of just showing up and showing what they can really do. I'm still excited to see how Atlanta Reign end up doing, but the San Francisco Shock, Mitch, they're 9-0 in regular season.
Yeah.
Like, but they've got to get rid of this online warrior title.
Oh yeah, I mean,
they need to prove at LAN that they can just dominate.
Oh yeah, listen, Midseason Madness, a little bit of a different environment to what we had in Texas for the players, at least. So we'll see how that affects them, or conversely doesn't affect them. Let's talk about a player of the match from this series. A lot of great candidates, I think. Mikey was really exciting for the maps that he was in for, but I've got to say, Violet for me takes the cake. The Ana play was huge, and in my opinion, it's what gave the Shock that really difficult map win on Kings Row. That's what just propels them comfortably into that Ilios where Mikey gets to come back in. They sort of just get to flex their unmatchable wrecking ball composition. But great to see, that old Violet, right, before he was sort of stuck on Brig and Lucio. And we're reminded just why this guy was such a weapon in this championship-winning San Francisco team of old.
Yeah, he had a series. Like, that Kings Row game specifically was insane. The sleeps on everybody, pretty much. The nades were crazy. Like, this is the Violet that you want to see. Like, San Francisco Shock, they look immortal right now. They are 9-0, and the backbone of a rookie Finn and a veteran Violet looks unstoppable. It's when we came into the season, Mitch, it was like, oh, well, it's just the same Shock pretty much, but they've got different names. Like, that's how it's feeling right now. That, like, championship winning energy is still there, and you can tell just by the scoreline and how they're playing too, like, out of this world.
And this is a series where we don't even need to see Kilo. Sam comes in and plays such a variety of different heroes. We get the Sojourn from him on Kings Row. It looks excellent. So there's more and more up the Shock sleeve as time goes on. There's still a reserve of strategies available to them should they need them throughout this mid-season madness. Pretty insane game. Obviously, very sticky second and third map there. Plenty to dig into now as we head back to the truck and the crew over at Watchpoint. Don't go too far. Still got another match coming your way here on our Saturday of games of the mid-season madness qualifiers.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Upper Deck, the official trading card of the Overwatch League. And by TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League.
Welcome to Game Break, everybody. I'm here joined by Proper from San Francisco Shock. Proper, congratulations on the win. Now, I think throughout the whole match, San Francisco Shock has been dominant, except for one map. Route 66 was Atlanta Reign who got the map win on that one. I just want to quickly ask you, were there any difficulties in that map? What went wrong for the San Francisco Shock on Route 66? 일단 프로퍼 선수 인터뷰에 응해주신 거 너무 감사드리고 또 승리도 너무 축하드립니다. 제가 처음으로 여쭤보고 싶은 거는 다름이 아니라 이제 국도 66번 국도 맞나요? 모르겠네요. 아무튼 네, 거기서 좀 힘들어하는 모습을 보여줬던 것 같아요. 이제 센쇼기 다른 데에서는 굉장히 좀 기세등등하고 좋은 모습을 보여주다가 그 맵에서만 살짝 좀 힘들어하는 모습을 보여준 것 같은데 거기서 좀 어떤 문제가 있었나요?
저희가 스크림에서 하던 대로 했는데 이제 그게 상대 조합에 따라서 바꿨어야 되는데 그걸 좀 많이 못한 것 같아요. 그냥 계속 하던 대로 해가지고 상대 플레이에 맞춰서 해야 되는데
네. All right. So I do feel like during the scrims our original strategy was to just play as how we used to play during scrims. But I think one of the most difficult things to do for the Route 66 map, particularly, was that we couldn't really counterplay Atlanta Reign on that specific map. We didn't switch out comps to sort of counter Atlanta Reign, and I think that was the biggest mistake that we made in Route 66 against Atlanta Reign. Other than that, like I said, other than Route 66, you guys were pretty dominant. But I think one other interesting thing that I found about San Francisco Shock today was that you guys really didn't use Sojourn, while a lot of other teams are starting to rely heavily on Sojourn. Was there a particular reason why you guys sort of ran more Hanzo and Genji instead of Sojourn? Was that sort of just, are you guys playing to your strength, or is that sort of just to counter the Atlanta Reign? 마지막 질문은 이제 영웅에 대해서 좀 여쭤보고 싶어요. 프로퍼 선수, 이제 다름이 아니라 딴 팀들은 어떻게 보면 좀 요즘 들어서 소전을 굉장히 많이 쓰는 반면에 오늘 센쇼크는 좀 겐지 한조 위주로 경기를 많이 치렀던 것 같은데 그거에 대한 좀 특별한 이유가 있나요?
저희 팀에서는 소전은 그렇게 좋다고 평가를 안 한 것도 있고 이제 쌤이 한조를 좀 많이 잘해가지고 스크림 때 좋은 결과 많이 나왔어서 저희는 한조랑 겐지 기용을 많이 쓰는 것 같아요. 기용을 많이 하는 것 같아요.
Right. I think San Francisco Shock as a team, I think we don't honestly believe that Sojourn is not really that good as people think it is. So that is one of the biggest reasons why we're not using more Sojourn compared to other teams. And also, Sam on our team also is a really, really good Hanzo player. So that is why we're using a lot more Hanzo plus that Genji DPS composition. All right, Proper, that is it for the interview. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations on the win again. 자, 이걸로 인터뷰 마치겠고요. 승리 너무나도 축하드립니다. 감사합니다. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh man, can't believe you got to talk to Proper. That was so nice.
You should have joined me.
Listen. No,
Next time. Next time, I'm
Do I
literally
get to
just
say
gonna be
hello?
like, yeah, just jump in and be like, hey,
I'm just gonna make it awkward. But then again, you also make it awkward, so I think that's perfect.
It's my thing. Making
I
people
love that.
uncomfortable.
That's a good shtick to have. I think that's a good brand. Kasta, I want to talk about what we just heard last year from the interview with Danny and Proper. Sojourn. San Francisco Shock not considering Sojourn that strong of a pick right now. Would you agree with that, or do you think that they're really just trying to play to the strength of Sam on that Hanzo?
I think playing Sam on the Hanzo, Proper said it himself, Sam is a very good Hanzo, and we saw that on New Queen Street, and we saw that on the control map of he is a good Hanzo, and when they're playing against the Doomfist, it makes sense. It can be hard to charge up that rail, and it can be difficult to play the Sojourn because it's hard to gain charge, and we saw Kai actually have that issue on this map in particular. He just can't get enough value on that hero, so I like the Hanzo. But then we go over to King's Row, and I just think Sam was really struggling to get any value on the Hanzo. Unable to get picks. When he was able to stay on the map, he is a good player, but just with the compositions being played with that Sigma shield, he just wasn't able to keep up to the pace of Kai on that Sojourn. So I agree to some capacity with Proper that Sojourn shouldn't be played everywhere 100% of the time against certain compositions, but the Hanzo was obviously not working on King's Row when they did decide to make that switch over to Sojourn. It worked way better for them.
I also think there's a very interesting point here to make about the San Francisco Shock shying